Avatar and Korra villains ranked. Alright guys, you've seen the title. You know what it is. It's not a ranking of the strongest villains, nor is it a ranking of the best in terms of character. I'll probably make a video just for those in the future. Today, I just want to answer the question, who had the more difficult villains to beat given the circumstances, Korra or Aang? Maybe you've asked yourself this question before, or maybe it was an argument online. But unlike those messy Twitter battles, I'll be using a criteria for my selection. The criteria. These are the criteria for selecting. 1. They must be villains with screen time. 2. They must be villains who had their own season dedicated to them and their avatar battling it out. For instance, we're not going to include someone like Yakone, who we know Aang and his team apprehended in the past. At the end of the day, that leaves us with Zuko, Commander Zhao, Azula, and, of course, Firelord and Phoenix King Ozai for Team Last Airbender, and Kuvira, Zaheer, Amon, and Unavaatu for Team Korra. Honorable mention, the Dai Li for Team Avatar as well. Yes, I included Zuko. Yes, I know he was more of an antagonist in Season 1 and 2 than he was a villain, but I think he was a sufficient pain in the ass for Team Avatar in that time as much as anybody. So Zuko stays. Now, like I said, we're not going to do a dick measuring contest to see which of these villains are stronger than the other. Rather, I'll examine their impact on their respective avatar as a whole. Then, I'll compare and see which avatar had more of an uphill battle. Alright, ready? Let's do this. Team Last Airbender, the villains. These guys didn't always see eye to eye on most things, except one. Aang had to go. We first met with Zuko and his crew. Zuko was leading them to restore his honor. Zuko and his crew alone managed to overrun the Southern Water Tribe. Not that there was much to overrun, and chase the Avatar and his team across the world to the Northern Water Tribe. In the process, he burnt Kyoshi Island, hired pirates, and hired June and Nyla to find Aang. Became the Blue Spirit to rescue Aang for himself, and eventually in the Northern Water Tribe, he did capture Aang, but lost him again, nearly losing his life. His final 2 villainous acts involved helping Azula to defeat Aang and sever the Avatar link, and hiring Combustion Man to destroy Aang. With Zhao, his power and rise through military ranks made it very easy for him to cause Aang and his friends trouble. He rose from captain to commander to admiral, eventually controlling the entire Fire Nation Navy. He created a blockade when Aang tried to visit Avatar Roku's temple and almost captured him there. And he, in fact, eventually captured Aang with the help of his Yuyan archers. Aang was going to fail very early in his mission had Zuko, disguised as the Blue Spirit, not rescued him. Zhao also tracked Aang down at Zhang's hideout, but lost due to his temper. And in his final act, Zhao laid siege to the last waterbending stronghold, the Northern Water Tribe, killing the Moon Spirit, and eventually paying for it with his life and eternal damnation. Now, Zuko and Zhao caused problems, but Azula wreaked total havoc. She was relentless in her pursuit of Aang and his friends, alongside her own friends Mai and Dai Li. First, she apprehended them in Omashu, and after Aang got away, she crushed the resistance and renamed Omashu the City of New Ozai. Moving forward, she tracked down the Avatar using Appa's shedding and had a face-off with Aang and his team and Zuko and Iroh, injuring Iroh in the end. She would attempt to take over Ba Sing Se, the last Earth Kingdom stronghold, using War Minister Qin's giant drill, but failing in the end. Taking over Ba Sing Se would be from the inside, however, as she took over the Dai Li and the Earth Kingdom in the name of her father. In her final battle with Aang, she dealt a fatal blow, almost killing the Avatar and ending the cycle. After she returned to the Fire Nation, she had 2 more brushes with the team, once at the Boiling Rock Prison, and again during the Day of Black Sun, where she stalled Aang from reaching the Firelord with her agents. Her final act would be losing to Zuko and Katara after the Agni Kai on Sozin's Comet. Finally, for Team Last Airbender, we have the Firelord himself, who appeared to be the most menacing of them all. But for some people, he was probably as disappointing and anticlimactic as the Night King from Game of Thrones. In his defense, he was the Firelord/Phoenix King, and he did pull all the strings in the background with all our aforementioned villains, except Zuko. He was the one who kept promoting Zhao, and he was the one who unleashed Azula. More than that, the Fire Nation forces took over Omashu for him, and even War Minister Chin's exploitation of the mechanic and his inventions in the Northern Air Temple are all under his orders. In fact, in terms of impact on Aang, Firelord Ozai technically has the biggest as the prime villain. But him letting Aang grab his goatee like this during Sozin's comet was just a mad L. In the end, he lost to Team Avatar in the most ridiculous way, but more on that later. Team Korra. The villains, of course. Now, I'm not gonna lie. Korra had some of my favorite villains in the entire show. It's probably because the team creating the show had developed to create better character designs, better backstories, and more complex villains than Aang's villains. Not that Aang's villains weren't complex. I guess much time wasn't given to explore them well enough on screen, except Zuko. You know what? This is all discussion for another video. Where were we? Yes. Amon probably exemplifies the awesome character designs of Korra's villains the most. But beyond his cool attire and mask, he dealt massive blows to Korra and her team in Republic City. In his first confrontation with Korra, he and his chi blockers ambushed and knocked her out, leaving her with recurring nightmares. He took away the bending of several people and made a show of it in the pro-bending arena. And later on, he took away Korra's bending too. It was in her final battle that she revealed who he really was, as blood-bending Unavaatu. And while he was fleeing with his brother Tarlok, the councilmen ended both their lives. With Unalaq, Korra was thrown into the world of spirit bending, but unlike the other villains so far, Unalaq was not an apparent enemy to Korra, as the Avatar inadvertently helped him achieve his own goals by opening the spirit portals. And as we all know, there are fewer forms of villainy worse than the one that presents itself as heroism. After Korra discovered that Unalaq was actually responsible for her father's banishment from the Northern Water Tribe, they fell out. But it was too late, as Unalaq had already taken over the Southern Water Tribe and was ready to open the second spirit portal to free Vaatu, the Dark Spirit. In the end, Unalaq succeeded and became the Dark Avatar. And in the battle with Korra, he won and destroyed the light spirit Rava, ending the original cycle of avatars. But with the help of Jinora, the Tree of Time, and her team, she was able to turn into a blue spirit giant, regain Rava, who was never really going to die anyway, and defeat Unavaatu, hence saving the Southern Water Tribe and Republic City. Next is my favorite, Big Boy Zaheer. This man needs little introduction, and I would argue he had the biggest impact on Korra out of all her opponents. He showed us how bad things could get if the air nomads actually decided to be villains. Korra's first encounter with Zaheer came when he and his team paralyzed and attempted to abduct her in Zaofu. Next, he confronted her in the spirit world when he explained his motives, most of which Korra could not rebut. In their next encounter, Korra was offering herself to Zaheer in exchange for him freeing the airbenders he had captured, but the deal didn't go through. A battle ensued, and Pli, Zaheer's lover, was killed, freeing Zaheer from worldly desires and giving him the gift of flight. He escaped with the Avatar and took her to a Red Lotus prison to poison her, force her into the Avatar state, and kill her in that state, like Azula almost did. He eventually failed, with the help of the airbending nomads, but a lot of damage was already done to Korra, mentally, spiritually, and physically. When Korra fought Kuvira for the first time, she was soundly beaten in front of the entire Earth Kingdom forces. Her victory over Zaofu sent the Avatar and the Beifongs running to Republic City. She met Korra the second time while planning to take control of Republic City, which she saw as the last Earth Kingdom territory not under Earth Kingdom rule. She blasted at Korra, her team, and her fiancé with the Spirit Energy Cannon. A battle ensued with the Avatar and her team as they escaped the Spirit Energy blast. The good guys eventually won, but not before Kuvira blasted open a portal in the middle of Republic City. The verdict? At the end of the day, I think the answer is pretty clear. Avatar Korra's villains dealt very severe blows to her. They took her bending, destroyed her Avatar spirit and the old Avatar cycle, and almost killed her several times. Korra was saved a lot by her friends, and it's similar for Aang. He got abducted many times, almost got killed with lightning, and lost his connection to the past avatars. And despite Korra's troubles, In my opinion, Aang had the tougher villains to face. Not because Zaheer and his team wouldn't destroy Zhao or Azula and her girls, or not because Unavaatu can't defeat even Firelord Ozai. No. Throughout the course of this video, you'll notice that I kept repeating something for Aang's villains, and that was the fact that they had the backing of a crew of soldiers, naval forces, and even aerial forces. These military forces were provided for them by the Fire Nation, the most dominant nation in the world. In contrast, Amon and his equalists were rebels in Republic City, a lost Earth Kingdom territory. Unalaq was only in command of the Water Tribes. Zaheer and his team could barely even pass through a police blockade in Republic City, and Kuvira was not even able to take control of the entire Earth Kingdom. Some of these villains only grew as strong as they did because maybe the authorities like the Councilman, the President, or the United Forces were too slow to act, and sometimes even Korra's stubbornness helped her villains. But by the third season, Aang and his team mostly lived in caves and were wearing camouflages everywhere they went. The entire world, except the Northern Water Tribe, was basically under the Fire Nation. That's more domination than even America or the Great British Empire managed. And you can only imagine how crazy it would be for 4 teenagers still experiencing puberty to be going up against that. What's more crazy is that Aang had about just a year to master all the elements and defeat this force. He arrived a little too late from his iceberg to save the world, but he did it anyway. And to me, in principle, taking on that massive force was way more impressive than what Korra had to deal with. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section, guys. And if you enjoyed this video, go on a binge on the Pangolo channel by clicking a video on the screen, and I'll see you there.